I think a part of that has to be a recovery of evangelism. We need to recover the willingness and ability to engage in faith sharing. Please don't quibble with me about definitions and aspects here. Clergy just love to. But we have to recover the ability to share a verbal witness. And in my experience, most laity expect their pastor to be able to do it. I mean, the Bible does tell us, always be ready to give an account of the hope that is within you. And yet in my experience as a bishop, and frankly before as a pastor for 30 years of local churches, very few clergy actually know how to share their faith. What we've been trained in is how to take care of the saints. That's good. It's godly. We've been trained often on how to engage in deeds of love and justice and mercy with those hurting and hungry and homeless. That too is good and godly and desperately needed. But by themselves, they are not enough. We need to share the joy and source of life in a way that invites those who are far from God into a new life of faith. Don't fudge here. Don't try to define evangelistic witness out of existence. Who, as a functioning non-Christian, someone who does not know Christ at all, who are you engaged with on a regular basis in genuine dialogue of faith sharing? Every single piece of secular research we have indicates that people are deeply spiritually hungry, indeed starving. And the question is, are we offering them the food of eternity? Life with Christ and for Christ. We need to remember Acts 17. You remember Paul on the Areopagus on Mars Hill in Athens sharing the faith? That is to say, we need to engage in sharing in the marketplaces of commerce and ideas. We, lay and clergy alike. Did I say lay? Did you hear me? This is not just a clergy task. We must go where people are, not where we think they ought to be. Now notice that this is incarnational, not attractional. We go to them. It is not a one-shot transaction, but an ongoing relationship and dialogue regardless of whether they ever give their life to Christ or darken the doors of our church. This is a recovery of the original mission and purpose, and it by necessity involves us in the deeds of service and justice, but it is more than just those deeds. One of my part-time retired local pastors is doing this. He retired early, took a part-time appointment. His district superintendent, Carol Woods, tells me that he deliberately decided he'd take a job at a local assembly line, a little town in West Texas, Strawn, Texas, welding with a bunch of guys. They weld oil drums together for the oil field. And so he walked in there. He tells, Tom Beatty's his name. He tells me about it. He said, when I walked in the first day at work, they all turned around and looked at me as if I was from a foreign country. And I got it. He said, I realized that's how they must feel when they walk into our churches. Well, Tom and Carol got together and they decided that they would kind of try doing a church at Mingus's Bar and Grill. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Mingus Bar and Grill. If you have, you've been pretty far out in deep West Texas, where it's not only the cowboys roam, it's the cows roam, all right? And frankly, it's a kind of rough place. It really is. Fights and drink are just regularly on the menu. And Tom and Carol decided that we're going to take a witness there. We don't know how to come out. We don't have any idea. The DS Carol Woods called me and said, Tom wants to do this. Can we have your permission? I said, yeah, go for it. The only requirement is that you take me with you. I want to go too. And so we talked at conference. Mine was just over, and I'm going. Now, there's so much more to say here. Allow me to commend a couple of quick books to you. One is Martha Grace's book, Unbinding the Gospel, Real Life Evangelism. It's really good for mainline congregations that haven't done evangelism and witness in a long time. Another is George Hunter's mini classic that's been reprinted a number of times called The Celtic Way of Evangelism. They're good starting points if you're a reader, but far more than that. How about starting a friendship without any intent to notch a conversion on your spiritual gun belt, but rather to start a friendship where you both learn and are blessed? Because here's the key. Yeah. Here's the key. If you do that, God will lead you both. God will lead you both from there.